July the 22nd, 2024. Guys, this video is something I've been wanting to do for at least a week now, and other things have been popping up on the news and events we've been paying attention to, and just having to find the time and the energy to get it completed, and I hope that it will make sense. What you're looking at is a map of the Yangtze River. Chongqing is here, and it flows this way, basically south and east, all the way through the Three Gorges Dam, Wuhan, the laboratory city, Nanjing, and out into the bays at Shanghai into the Pacific Ocean. Now, the importance of the video is not only that the Three Gorges Dam is in trouble, both on the northern end to the left where you see Chongqing, they're having major rainfalls. But below it also, the Three Gorges Dam is in trouble. Now, you have seen a video series, most of you have, that I did called The Great Comet. It's 3 parts. And if not, I will link it to this video. And if you look into my video list, look under The Great Comet. But in the 1400s, we're seeing the same thing we're seeing now, which is through like the Belt Road Initiative, the Silk Road, or whatever they want to call it. China is going to many countries around the world and offering them deals for trading for oil or gold to build their infrastructure. In other words, to get their tentacles involved in everything. And that's what we're seeing. In other words, instead of China being content with being one of the largest nations in the world, greatest population, they want to take over the planet. Same thing happened, excuse the Huskies, in the 1400s. They had the largest fleet around the planet, and they went to nation after nation. They couldn't make a deal. They would basically turn you into a slave and make you mine your own gold mines or silver mines or copper, whatever it was. And their footprint, guys, in the 1400s has been found through these great trading fleets, even into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, in the series I did about the Great Comet, it was about the Chinese fleet, the largest in the world, back in the 1400s. And a comet that they saw coming, their astronomers, came in and hit the fleet just south of New Zealand and just about wiped it out. That stopped their expansionism and their attempt to take over the planet. We're maybe right on the very edge of seeing that again. But that fleet, guys, what was left limped back, like I said, to China. The people of China decided that the gods were against their leaders for trying to take over the planet and basically even enslaving the Chinese people to build these massive fleets. Well, they limped back home again. The people said the gods are against our leaders, and they took them out. If the gods are against them, then something's wrong. And I mentioned this the other day. What happened was, after they brought all this home, they didn't try to repair the fleets or anything like that. They decided to build the wall people. They built the Great Wall with the money that they could have used to rebuild that shipping fleet. These things were huge, much larger than anything else on the planet. So the Great Wall of China was built in an exact reversal. Think about it. From the number one threat on the planet to someone just backing up and closing their castle doors. The Great Wall came from that. Now we're seeing the same thing happen again with the Silk Belt Road Initiative and all of that. But this Three Gorges Dam thing that you're looking at now has been a problem since they built it. But here again, Chongqing, Three Gorges Dam, Wuhan, Nanjing, and Shanghai. Let's look at some of the information coming out of here. If this thing breaks, and there's dams all up above it that have broken, all that water's rushing down right now, plus intense rainfall, and below here there's flooding all the way towards Wuhan, but it has seen nothing like the 30 or 40 feet that could come down if this dam breaks, and much higher than that in many places. Now, this is an image of a section of that dam back in 2009. A couple of things to point out is you're reservoir is filling up behind here, and this is the Yangtze River. And there was an island over here, and you see a pretty nice bridge running back up and across and back up into the mainland. Just remember that. This is 2009. You see your big red cranes on the top. Then you see some more red cranes down here low. And it looks like here's going to be your turbines in this area letting the water come down or channeling it through. And it's going to be combined somewhere in this phase with the generators that pump all of this electricity back up and out through China. By the way, it's, again, the largest hydroelectric dam on the planet. But it's less than 20% of the electrical energy needed in China. And just for a footnote, they're still about 70% fossil fuel. Now, they had massive floods with heights very close to what we're dealing with now, if not a little bit over, but they didn't have the continuous rain that is still coming in. This is July, 4 years ago, the 27th in 2020. Notice there were 3 floodgates open, and there was some record-breaking floods, Here's the backup side. A lot of villages were removed, a lot of people dislocated to build this thing, and it has caused an enormous amount of landslides, and they built it on one of the larger fault zones in that area, guys. Can you believe that? These engineers were sent to the U.S., I think 16 of them, to be taught engineering and dam building here. And I guess hydroelectronics and all of that. But here, remember, you've got 3 gates open. It was flooding downstream really bad. They did not have what we're seeing now, like we've seen with tornadoes, hurricanes, everything else, record amounts of rainfall, both above the dam and below it. Now, just bear in there with me because I haven't got into one of the most important parts of the video as far as how the whole world has to deal with this situation. But there's going to be millions of lives affected. These floods, guys, are wiping out infrastructure. They're wiping out their crops that they planted. Think about it. Millions and millions of people involved. Now, this is earlier, just this month, I think it was. Notice there are now 6 gates open, and that road going over to the island that's over here is underwater. But right now, guys, there are 11 gates open, and many people said that will be the point to where they have given up on the provinces that are lower than this dam. And they are still concerned that this dam could give way. If so, they would, again, lose about 20% of their electricity, but so much more than that would be involved. The floods from behind this, and once I read the final stats and show you why I came here, you'll understand how much water is involved when it's just normally, it's in a normal condition where you don't have all the flooding rains. The weight of the water on the planet to the left of this picture, upstream, but right now with 11 gates open, the water levels on both sides are approaching. Not only is it just a threat for lives, guys, the economic impact could be as devastating as getting the fleet taken away, because China has actually spent all their money on these external things like the Silk Belt and all of that, and building infrastructure to put other companies in slavery, basically. And the people here in China are like every other country in the world. Very good people. They would prefer to work hard, be left alone, raise their kids, and do as good as they can. But the leaders will not let them, just like here, just like in many nations. And so my heart goes out to all the fellows there and all the people in China, because I know with some of the minorities and atrocities have happened. Now, in this image, just notice a couple things. This upper end is very close to being topped. You see that? Again, only 6 gates are open, but notice the height out of the water of this wall. And if you think about it, you notice how it curves this way. That's because as it comes through the dam, everything makes a left turn, and this would help alleviate some of the washing away that you probably already see happening on this bank here. Notice how far it is above the water. This is very large. Now, this is the most current video, or excuse me, image that I can find. And let me tell you this. In China, if there's some type of natural disaster or problem, it becomes very secretive. But notice the height, and this is from the other side, but the height of this retaining wall right there, it's almost under. Here's your cranes that were up on top, and you see some of the gates here. And this is where the rooms and stuff are for the transformers and things like that. But this wall is almost completely under. This is 11 gates open, and this is, again, 2 or 3 days ago. And there's much more water coming downstream from above it. And there's dams breaking above it and below it. Now, let's go back to this map that we started this with. And let me say this. If you're not careful when you're looking at information from anywhere around the world, you have to be careful because there's a lot of people throwing in old information. So I was trying to be extremely careful because of that. But I want to point out that Chongqing is here, or Chongqing, above the Three Gorges Dam. Now let's go look and see what's happening there. This is China's third largest lake in this area, and you're not going to believe what's going on. And all of this is headed down to the Three Gorges. Again, this is above the Three Gorges Dam. This is what's happening there, and this is China's third largest lake. Now this dump truck that you see here, this was not an accident. They kept running them off in this hole trying to stop it. It kept enlarging, and it's all going downstream again to the Three Gorges Dam. Guys, and then they pulled up these 2 big barges or ships, and what these lifts that you see, they're trying to pump and fill the hole with sand, which is not working at all. You see they've already thrown in a couple more gravel trucks. They're in a panic situation. They have no time. And what's amazing to me about upriver from the Three Gorges and downriver, where it's just as devastating, the people are getting very little warning. I mean, all of a sudden the streets are full of water. All of their cars are rushing down through the neighborhoods and through the parking lots. Bridges are washing out. Levees are washing out. And if they had had any notice, it would be obvious that they would have moved some of that equipment or their cars or moved to higher ground. But again, they continue running the dump trucks off because really they don't have much of a choice at this point. Because it didn't take them very long to realize they were in a losing battle. This was very shallow in the first video I showed you. They were taking pictures from across. You could see where they were running the dump trucks in. But the third largest lake in China now, that's too much power behind it. And it's gotten wider by this point. And same exact afternoon, all of this is going on. And another image, again, above the dam, up in the Chongqing area, it says, due to rain, a provincial highway collapsed in Chongqing's Kazhu district, disrupting traffic. Chongqing Railroad Station was also affected, with 26 journeys suspended on Thursdays, according to CCTV. The death toll from the heavy rain in southwest China's Chongqing municipality has risen to 6, according to local authorities. Guys, again, this is up above the dam. All of this is headed to Three Gorges, and it's full. Now, again, at this lake, notice to the right what's happening. The crops are being destroyed. This is happening all across China. The Yangtze River is a major lifeline of moisture and water for crops. Now, not only could they lose less than 20%, very close to that, of their electrical grid if the Yangtze collapses, but you're already seeing, guys, cities being flooded. I'm talking about, it looks like New Orleans, and just cars, whole parking lots washing off so quickly that you know that they did not have warning. But this series here of what they call elevators, not locks, like you see on the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal. Big ship comes in, either going up or down, and they fill up the water levels and let it down, and the ship passes. These are elevators, and they work 7 times faster than a normal lock. In other words, this is a key lifeline of the economic heartbeat of China. Through the heavy rains, continuously bombarding them, I think that our Father in heaven is doing the same thing that he did in the 1400s when he took out that fleet that was trying to expand around our globe. Now, this is not the video, but a screenshot of it, and I will go back and find it, put it in the link. But it is a model of what happens if this dam collapses below it, going towards Wuhan, the laboratories there, and out to the ocean. Guys, they're talking about massive, massive heights and waves. But again, you can come, and it's a very good simulation. There's going to be major destruction, and China will have to back away just to survive on their intent. Now, this is what initially caught my interest in it, because I've been studying the tilt of the planet and things that affected that. But in 2005, and this is called the terrestrial impact by NASA, it said NASA scientists calculated that the shift of water mass stored by the dams would increase the total length of the Earth's day by 0.06 microseconds. Not that much, but and make the Earth slightly more round in the middle and flat on the poles. Centrifugal force, guys. A study published in 2022 in the journal Open Geosciences suggests that the change of the reservoir water level affects the gravity field in western Sichuan, which is in turn affects the seismicity in that area. This is built on one of the largest quakes in that area, guys, or the largest fault zones. And so think about the weather that's being changed since we see these massive dams and weather and reservoirs being built. And they're talking about it changing the gravity fields and changing the shape of our planet. But now that's in 2005. The reservoir is just getting filled on the right side of this image. But right now it's massively filled, much more water and weight than what they're talking about here. Not only above it, but below it. And we're seeing the days change. We're seeing the sun tilt a little further north. Think about the impact of this type of situation. In other words, some of the effects we've been seeing in the last few years may come from projects like this. Now it's coming back around to tell the world, stop messing with the perfect balance that our Father in heaven has created. Especially if you're a communist, socialist, expansionist regime that has no, they have no sanctity of human life. This may be what we're seeing, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.